In these examples, we're going to look at the idea of a counterexample and what that means and how to show a counterexample, and also use a graph to make conjectures. So for this first example, we have the conjecture: the sum of two numbers is always greater than the larger number. So they're saying if we add two numbers, the answer will be greater than either of the two numbers that we add together. For example, 1 plus 2 equals 3 would be an example of this, because 3 is larger than 2. Now, there's lots of examples we can use to prove that this is false. We could do two negative numbers. We could do a positive and a negative number, where the one of the two is bigger than the other. In either case, it's going to give us a number that's smaller. The sum will be smaller than either of the two numbers. We could also do 0 in a number, and that would give us something where it's not greater. So what you do is you think about it and you just think of an example that proves that it's false. Again, you need to find a sum that is less than the larger number. So what they did in this case was -2 plus -3 equals -5. -5 is supposed to be bigger than either of these two numbers. The bigger of the two numbers is -2, and -5 is not bigger than -2. Therefore, because a counterexample exists, our original statement is false. Here's another counterexample problem. It says the value of x squared is always greater than the value of x. An example of this would be 2. If I do 2 squared is greater than 2. But we got to think about other types of numbers. 0 would be a good example that would prove this is false, because 0 squared is 0, and 0 would be equal to 0 here. We could also do fractions, as this example will show. So if we do 1/2 squared, we get 1/4. Now 1/4 is smaller than 1/2. Therefore, since 1/4 is not greater than 1/2, we know that this conjecture here is false. Now for this next example, we're doing a multiple choice question. It says, which conjecture could a high school athletic director make based on the graph at the right? It says more boys play soccer than girls. Doesn't tell us anything about boys, so we can't use that one. More girls are playing soccer today than in 1995. Yes, if we look, it's been going up since 1990 or before 1990, and it's been going up every year. More people are playing soccer today than in the past because the 1994 games were held in the US. Doesn't say anything about that. We can't prove anything. All we can do is see a trend here, and the number of girls playing soccer was more in 1995 than 2001. Well, that's just false, because in 95 it was here, in 2001 it was up here, so therefore we're actually getting more girls playing soccer in 2001. So our answer, the best answer here would be that more girls are playing soccer today than in 1995. And as it says here, A and C are eliminated because the facts aren't presented in the graph. B is a good choice, and D was false. So, alright, so the answer is B here. And using the same graph, we can make any kind of conjecture. We could say the participation in girls soccer will continue to increase in the years to come, something along those lines. And again, the number of girls playing soccer in the year 2002 will be more than previous years, and the reason for that is that the number of girls participating in soccer has increased every year for the past 11 years. So that's it for this one. Thank you.